This time on Versus, it's Sense versus Jelly Bean. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And this is the HTC One versus the HTC One, Google Play Edition. Just like with the previous GPE Versus, we're going to coast through many of the different aspects of this review because both of these phones, quite frankly, are very much the same. Everything from the design down to battery is the same. If you need to know more about the HTC One, see our full reviews here at Android Authority. I'll have links in the description below. Now these are the well-regarded aluminum-clad HTC One smartphones in black and silver. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Stealth Black Edition, but only the silver version is available in Google Play. The metal feel might slide around easily in the hand, but it is a sturdy feel for an easy-to-handle 4.7-inch screen. Speaking of those screens, both are 1080p performers capable of 469 ppi. These LCD screens handle everything very well, and Jelly Bean 4.2 looks very nice on the GPE. Stock Android elements don't quite jump out of the screen, but it is a refreshing change from the darker toned Sense UI. Performance-wise, you get the same package between these two. The Snapdragon 600 CPU clocked in at 1.7 GHz and backed by the tried-and-true Adreno 320 and 2GB of RAM. Both are speedy through their elements, as I have never had problems with Sense and Blink Feed, and the stripped-down Jelly Bean shows no lack of optimization. You don't get a removable anything on these phones, so the 32GB of onboard storage is what you get. While 64GB is available for the original, 32 is all you get for the GPE. An IR blaster is still available in the GPE, but obviously you don't get a built-in app to use it. Now we all know that the boom sound front-facing speakers are awesome, and the same goes for either of these devices. Just this time, I won't be blasting music for this video. The non-removable 2300 mAh battery makes a return in the Google Play edition of the HTC One. You lose the power-saving features found in Sense, but I can tell you that I never saw a drastic increase or decrease either way in the general battery life for the Google Play edition. Rest assured that Sense or Jelly Bean on the HTC One will get you a good full day of work. Okay, so we get to the main differences between these phones, the camera and the software. Obviously, with the change to the stripped-down stock Android operating system, you lose the added-in Zoe that HTC put in the original. But it isn't all bad, because putting together video collages and compilations can definitely be found in other apps found in the Play Store. If you prefer the HTC flavor of putting together your pictures and videos though, obviously go for the original one. When it comes to the apps, there actually aren't too many changes between these two cameras. Both interfaces use the entire screen as the viewfinder with button overlays. In the original HTC One, you are given some filters and the ability to change the ISO. The original stock Android camera app is more simplistic, opting for just a few buttons on the side and a touch and swipe interface using arches. You also get HDR and some scene modes here, but of course there is also the photosphere. As far as quality goes, the 4 Ultra pixels do their job pretty well either way. When zoomed out, you see that both of the pictures look largely the same, and then when you zoom far in, the story doesn't change too much. If you look very closely, you can see a little more sharpness and color depth in the original HTC One. These shots in the sun both looked nice, and then in lower indoor ambient lighting, both pictures still looked comparable. I suppose it is best to say that the GPE performs just below the original HTC One, but in reality the Ultra Pixels still do a good job of flooding light in for low light shots and for producing good photos. And finally we have the software. We're going to start with the original, as it saw a big change with this new release due to an updated Sense UI. Even if it is based on Android 4.1.2, Sense 5 was a big upgrade that brings the added Blink Feed into the overall dark interface. Personally, I love Blink Feed because it is easy on the eyes, but it's still a good built-in way of getting your news and social media feeds. And if it is too much at once, you can always hunker down to get just what you need. And of course, you can easily get to a more traditional Android interface. The app drawer is a vertical scroll, and you don't get power widgets in the notification dropdown. Overall, the boxy look with the rigid lines works well, and Sense 5 is really a very worthwhile upgrade. And now the Google Play Edition. The stripped-down Jelly Bean stock Android operating system is on the menu here and works well on the attractive HTC One hardware. Now first off, I will admit that I got so used to Jelly Bean being devoid of extras that I overlooked Beats Audio. But it is there, tucked away in the sound settings. Good on you, Google. There isn't too much to say about the more simplistic Jelly Bean operating system, as you get your usual home screens, app drawer, and notification dropdown that does include the settings shade. Luckily, the extras available in the HTC One can, for the most part, be replicated on the GPE. If you miss HTC Zoe, there are plenty of quirky camera apps in the Play Store. Blink feed withdrawals can be satisfied with a slew of aggregator apps like Flipboard. Honestly, I don't view this as too dramatic of a change. It comes down to how you want your interface to look and what few extras come with the HTC One, Blink feed and Zoe primarily. Obviously, the stock Android experience can be a little more user-friendly because it provides less, and Blink feed can have a small learning curve. Finally, we make it over to price. The HTC One has been out for a little bit now, so it can be found for around the same price that the Google Play Edition was introduced with, $599 unlocked. And so, there you have it. HTC One versus HTC One Google-fied. Like I said before, I don't view this as too much of a dramatic change. Much of what the original one offered can still be taken advantage of in the GPE, and if you miss some of those apps included, you can always find alternatives in the Play Store. In the end, it comes down to your personal preference, perhaps here more than ever. Stock Android works very well on this device and is a fine choice for anyone that is looking specifically for this experience. But for me, I do prefer the original in this stealth, all-black everything. For all the best news and coverage, make sure you stay tuned to Android Authority's YouTube channel. Drop us a like down below, check out the full reviews in the description below if you haven't already, and don't forget to subscribe. And once you're done with all of that, head on over to AndroidAuthority.com because we are your source for all things Android.